I've been creating content for brands and creating UGC for brands for over 5 years now. This is the reality of how I land clients, how I land brand deals, how I land brand collaborations, and how a lot of content creators, UGC creators, and influencers do this. I am not new and I've seen how the space has evolved. So I'm going to walk you through how I do it, my exact process of how I land clients, how I land paid UGC deals, how I land brand partnerships, and the reality of it and what that looks like so that you can land your brand collaborations that you're dying to land, so that you can land brand deals and land UGC clients too. If you are new here, I'm Kelly Hill. I'm a content creator and influencer, and this is my channel. I just got my hair done today, and I just had a new baby girl 2 months ago, and so I figured I could finally hop on here and record a quick tutorial for y'all since I have been taking a little break after having a baby. So here we are. I got my hair done and I got my nails done. We are feeling good, so I can finally get back to recording videos for y'all. The reality is the last 2 months I haven't stopped working. I have stopped content for fun and creating tutorials and stuff like this. So while I have been absent from posting YouTube videos and showing up on Instagram and TikTok with my usual content, I still have been working as a creator, as a UGC creator and influencer still, even after having a baby. Maternity leave looks quite a bit different. So how I take a break is I just do a lot less of my personal content or just the things that aren't partnerships, and I pretty much just only do partnerships and UGC deals and brand collabs. So I have been really busy in my little bit of free time having a 2-year-old and a baby, still creating for brands and UGC clients and doing some influencer partnerships as well. I've had honestly quite a busy last few months with creating content for brands, and that's what I'm gonna dive into how I do that and what that looks like so that you can be landing clients too, because I feel like people kind of give this illusion of how it works, and sometimes I see people giving advice that like aren't actively in the space, but like I'm actively working as a creator, actively working as a UGC creator and an influencer, which is why sometimes that's like for my maternity leave, my drop off is then not creating that educational content because I'm still creating content for brands. So let's get into it. I've been doing this for years now, so I've really seen how the space has evolved. You know, back when I got started 5 years ago, pretty much everything was just through Instagram, and you know, brands would just like end up in your email inbox if you had your email in your profile. And that's not really how it works anymore. The main ways that I land brand deals and UGC clients are through creator platforms. And this is what I tell my students who have taken my collaboration and UGC course, or who have my collaboration and UGC starter kit. I tell them to get on creator platforms. That is where I find the majority of my brand partnerships, influencer deals. The majority of my UGC work is through these creator platforms. So how does this work? These creator platforms, there's literally a lot of them. There are so many. I actually have the entire list of every single one that I'm on in my collaboration starter kit, my UGC starter kit. I'll link that below so you can grab that from my starter kit. But that is the majority of how I find all of my deals. And the reason I tell my students to do this, and I'm telling you to do this too, and get on these creator platforms, is because you know that the brand already wants to work. Already know that they need this content. Like there's no cold pitching and outreach to them, like wondering if they need this content. Like you already know they need this content. Like they already know they need this, and they have a specific campaign they want. It's just defined already. So all it is just getting their attention that they should pick you out of all of the applicants. So there are 2 ways on creator platforms that you might get a UGC deal or a sponsored post deal on either Instagram or Pinterest or TikTok. They go through all Amazon, YouTube. They're really across all social media platforms, Facebook even blog. I've had some partnerships come through creator platforms because for my blog. What's nice about the platforms is they already have these campaigns set. so they know what they want. So there are two ways that I go about this. Is one, I'm applying directly to campaigns, so the platform will post or send you an email that these campaigns are available or these brands are looking for creators, and you go and apply to that specific campaign. So it's not just a general brand, it's like a specific campaign. The other thing is that on these platforms, they also have your profile as a creator, and they have content examples or you link your social profiles. And so they're also just, when they're searching for creators for a campaign, they just come from that pool. Like, it's kind of hard sometimes to find these creators from social media. So they basically use the creator platforms as a database of working creators. So it's kind of like being on just like a freelance website, kind of like Upwork or something, where you have like your profile as a freelancer and you can apply to jobs, or you have your profile that they find you to have you apply to jobs. So it works the same way as a creator. These platforms that I'm using, deals that I get through there are ones I applied to, and then other half are inbound. So I'm on the platform and then they reach out to me to work with me because they see me in the database of the creator platform. So some of my favorite platforms that I'm on that I get a lot of brand deals from and UGC deals from are Colli, Later Influence, which was previously called Maverick, Like to Know It, or Reward Style. I get a lot of collaborations through there. The Obviously platform and Acorns. Those are one of my favorite. What I suggest to you and all my students is get on every single one and then find the one that you like working on. So these platforms have both UGC deals and influencer partnerships. So there's both. So you can apply or receive an inbound for just like a content deal, or you can apply for a sponsorship. And it doesn't matter your following size. Sometimes campaigns do have a requirement for a certain following size. And part of the reason for that is like they have just like a media reach they need to meet. It's easier for them to work with 5 influencers who have 100,000 followers than to work with like 50 influencers with with like 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers. So sometimes they're just trying to hit their numbers, and so it's a lot easier to work with bigger creators that way. It really just depends on the campaign. Some campaigns are specifically focused on micro creators. Like it's not a reflection of you if you get a no. A no just means not yet. Like, it's not a rejection, it's just a not yet. Like, sometimes you're just not a fit for this campaign. Sometimes they're looking for very specific campaigns. So an example of this is I am working with a brand long-term this year. It's a skincare brand. And my very first partnership I did with them was very niched for them. It was a sunscreen, and I was creating content that they could use, UGC content, and I was also doing it as a sponsorship. This is, again, why I suggest to all my students, if you've taken my collaboration course and my UGC course, I really dive into it. And I always encourage all my students to basically start having their own micro influencer page as well. Even though they want to get into UGC, I think they should do both, because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter your following size, but it opens the door to do both. Or my students who want to be influencers, I really suggest that they start doing UGC, because it's also another way to start getting like paid brand deals is by doing UGC content. So content that you don't have to post. With this sunscreen brand, they were literally specifically looking for someone who was like outdoor working out activities. One of my samples of content I sent them was a video of me getting ready to go surfing. It was like a get ready with me to go surfing. And one of the things that I did was apply sunscreen. And so when I applied to that campaign, so I had applied to this one. It's a big luxury skincare brand, but I literally was showing them a content example of literally what they're looking for. Like, this was literally like what their campaign was about, was you getting ready to go do something active and applying sunscreen. And they specifically wanted you to be doing like a sport or working out, like something where you're gonna be sweating. So I literally sent them a content example of like what they were specifically looking for. I also applied to a campaign for this brand before and got rejected. And so that's why I say it's not just a no, it's just a not yet. So don't get discouraged, and it's all about like finding your fit. And part of that example is I want to show you, like, they had other campaign that I wasn't a fit for because they were like targeting a different group of people, and so like my content just didn't fit that group of people, even though it was the same brand. The bigger the brand, the bigger target market they have. The smaller the brand is generally like a smaller target market. So bigger brands, like for instance, I've worked with Herbal Essences multiple times, and they, target different hair types in different campaigns, and they target different groups. Like they have a very large demographic of customers and people who use their product. So with their different campaigns, they need to target like a specific group of people. So they'll pull specific creators. So the campaigns that I specifically worked with them on centered around like beachy life. Like it was like one was a beach plastic campaign, and then another one was like, it was like kind of sustainability focused. So I was just like a natural fit for that, whereas other campaigns they have, like I'm just not like a fit for that specific campaign. So that's what I say, like with these big brands, they have all different types of campaigns they do. So I just don't want you to get discouraged that like you're getting a bunch of no's. It's just a fit thing. And then following up on that is like just having the right content to show them. Like you need to have content that they're looking for. So if you're applying to a skincare brand, you need to show a skincare video. Like you need to have skincare videos in your portfolio. You can watch one of my other YouTube videos where I talk about everything you need to have in your portfolio. I also have a free guide that you can download that talks about the types of content you need in your portfolio to land UGC deals and brand collaboration. So I'll link that below. You can download that guide. I go into super depth and help you set all of this up inside my collaboration and UGC course, where we walk through everything that you need to be landing these paid deals, be making thousands of dollars a month as a paid creator. Back to these platforms. I listed all my platforms. So that is like the #1 way that I get a lot of partnerships. I feel like they really only came into the scene starting like 2021. 2020, I was like on some platforms, but I'd been working with brands since 2017. The second way that I get a lot of partnerships by posting on social media. So again, this is why I encourage, if you take my collaboration and UGC course, I encourage all my students to make social media profiles. Just thinking they want to be a UGC creator, then they need to make a UGC social media profile on at least Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, because I get a lot of partnership opportunities and UGC opportunities by just having a social media presence, because a brand just happens to see my content. So what happens on all these social media platforms is, as a user, you're being shown content similar to what you're looking for. So someone who's a part of a brand that's making these decisions, they're probably getting a lot of content of like what they're looking for in creators. So there's a chance your content as a creator, even though you're UGC, even though you're not trying to be an influencer, will pop up on their feed and they'll find you and they'll go to your profile and then see your email in your bio or say, I'm a UGC creator. So I really encourage all my students to start a social media profile for their UGC content on TikTok, Instagram, so that they can be discovered by brands to partner with them and create content for them. The other reason why I say that is also because maybe they just end up becoming an influencer and didn't even mean to. Like, I never meant to become an influencer. I was just posting on social media and it just happened like in the beginning. So I was like, oh, let me take, I started getting a few thousand followers. I'm like, oh, let me take this seriously. And once I took it seriously, then I grew by tens of thousands of followers. That was over 5 years ago. So it's even easier now, and you don't need to have like tons of followers, thousands of followers, to be able to do sponsored posts and sponsored content with brands. I tell my students, why not just do both? If you don't need thousands of followers, why not do both and you'll get more money? You'll be able to have a larger deal because you can charge a brand and say, I will make these 3 videos for you for UGC, and I'll do a sponsored post with some Instagram stories on my Instagram page and TikTok page. And you can charge more for that. So instead of getting the $500, you can end up getting $1,000. Those are just some example numbers that are example things to do, but it's like, why not? Because it's not requiring any more work from you to do that, but you will increase the size of your deal. You're also increasing your discoverability to work with brands. I show you exactly how to set that up inside my course. Again, I'll link below to that if you want to check that out. But I also have my free guide and my kits too, so you can get started with that. And of course, I have all my videos on my channel, so you can binge watch all my content creator and UGC videos too. So back to how I'm landing these deals. So the last way is then through pitching email. So my process for outreach to brands, I do this about bi-monthly or quarterly, the one I do least. So most of my campaigns, most of my UGC deals, most of my partnerships are coming in through creator platforms. The second level is just things falling into my DMs or things falling into my email inbox. They're pitching me or just reaching out to me to see if I'd like to work with them because I'm posting on social media. So the last way is me just hardcore pitching them. So kind of my method with this is when I pitch a brand, I don't just start out pitching them. That is never how I do it. You don't just go and like pitch a brand. No, that is not how I do that. Okay, so here's my process of what I do. I kind of like warm them up, so I start following them and engaging with their profile, and engaging with their posts, and maybe like replying to stories. I'm just like engaging with them. If I already have their products, then I will just like tag them in a post, like not a sponsored post, but it'll just be like a tag. And so when you tag someone in a post, it actually shows up in their DM, so they might even see it, or I'll just tag them in my story if I like have the product. So kind of like organic, like getting to know each other and just kind of like interacting, like showing I'm interested in the brand. So I always make sure that I'm following the brand that I'm going to pitch. The other thing that I do is I like make sure that they work with creators. I basically want to avoid the legwork of like needing to educate them on needing to work with creators. Like I just personally, take my advice for this, because I've been doing this many years. I just generally want to work with brands who like already know how it works, or at least are really excited. Like they don't have to have worked with influencers before or worked with content creators, but I at least want them to be excited about it and like know that they need it. I don't want to be like pitching them on why they need UGC content or why they need influencer partnerships. That's just not how I want to spend my time. Like, so that's just me. People do that, but I just don't do that. This is the reality. So I try to find brands to create content or UGC for, or to partner with on social media as an influencer post, ones that are already working with creators. And then the other thing is like I try to see if these creators are similar to me, so that like to see if my content aligns. And then the other thing I do is generally when I'm doing cold pitches, there's just a little bit more work that you have to show them. You have to like prove yourself more when you're pitching. So I also kind of batch like in mini seasons. So this is why I do it bi-monthly or quarterly. So one quarter, I might just be focused on swimwear. So before I pitch, again, when I'm like warming it up, engaging with brands, before I pitch them, I am making sure I'm posting a bunch of swimwear content. So that my feed, like when they go to my feed, they're like, oh, wow, she's a fit, you know? Or if I'm gonna pitch like a family brand or like a baby brand, like I make sure I have a bunch of posts lined up that are similar. Or if it's like hair, I make sure I have a bunch of hair content like going live before. Like they're not going to scroll down your feed for 5 minutes. They're basically gonna look at the top like 15 posts. And so you just wanna make sure that like you have something like relative to their brand in your top 15 posts. So I kind of try to queue it up, and that's again why I work bi-monthly or quarterly, and I just focus on like one industry, a bunch of swimwear brands or like a bunch of skincare brands or a bunch of like baby stuff. Like I just kind of focus in, or if it's like hotels, especially if I'm pitching hotels, I make sure I have a bunch of like other travel content lined up. And so I do all that like warm up. That's kind of my warm up of like pitching them, and then I slide into their DMs. But I don't pitch them in the DM. All I'm doing is asking who is the best person for me to email to explore partnering together for social media or to explore creating content for them. Kind of do that. I have all my pitch templates and exactly what I say in my emails and my DMs, like in my collaboration starter kit. So again, that's linked below. The thing is, I always put my handle at Kelly Y. Hill in my DM, because then they can easily click my profile to go to my page versus going to like the top corner and trying to click my profile to see what my profile is. I include at Kelly Hill, like best, you know, however I sign off, best Kelly Hill, and I include some emojis, and then, you know, at Kelly Y. Hill. So all they have to do to go to my profile is just click that link in the actual DM instead of trying to like click to my bubble. Like I just feel like it's way easier just like click that and it takes me to their page. So that's a little hack, do that. And I'll do that to like 10 to 20, and like I don't get a response from everyone. You know, this is just a reality. Like I have over 100,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram, and like I don't get a response from everybody. And then some are like, you know, they're just, I don't know, they just don't have a great response. And then some are like, yeah, here's the email. So I get the email. Then to the email, I don't like hardcore pitch them like, here's what we should do. I pitch them on like potentially partnering, and I kind of show them my reasons why we should partner. Ask them if they would like to see my ideas. Like I say, I have some ideas, content that I could create for you. Would you like to hear them? And so I'm not pitching them on, here is my rate, here's what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. I'm basically just trying to open the door and see if they're interested. They need to say yes or no. I'm just trying to gauge if they're interested. And how they do that is like, do they want to see my media kit? Do they want to see my portfolio? Do they want to hear my ideas? And most of the time they say yeah. So then it opens the conversation. So I'm not like just hardcore pitching them. I'm just gauging the interest, giving them reasons why they should be interested in the email pitch. It's basically getting a response without a commitment, or without them having to reject me, for instance, or without them having to say, yes, we want to partner. It's giving them time to think through it, because they also get tons of outreach. Sometimes they want to know clear, cut, and dry things, you know, and they'll come back to me, oh, actually, we have this campaign going on, you know, you'll be a great fit for this, you know, or sometimes they immediately say that I'm not a great fit, and you know, they move on, and then we get in touch, and then they get back in touch with me later. So it's just, you want to open the door. So that's why with my pitching process, I'm not like hardcore pitching. And then once they say yes, that's when you do your main pitch. Is after they say yes, why don't you send over your media kit? So when they say yes, we want to see your media kit, yes, we want to see your portfolio, yes, we want to hear your ideas, that's when you start pitching. My last tip is don't include the rates in your pitch. Only include the rates if you ask. Now, sometimes I get a lot of brands who say, hey, great, we'd love to see your media kit. Please send over your media kit and rates. That is when I send my rates. If they ask me for my rates, I do send them rates because they asked for it, and probably because they're busy and they just want to like know. But if they don't ask for my rates, I do not send my rates until they say what they're interested in. So you're able to kind of gauge, you know, what the budget is. So that's my other biggest tip, is like when they say, oh, we'd be totally interested in 3 UGC videos and 1 Instagram reel, you can be like, what is your budget looking like for this? You know, I'd love to do that. Budget is all negotiable with brands and with yourself. Like, you should be flexible. You shouldn't be like, oh my God, I only do it for this rate. Like, especially if you're just getting started, like, be flexible. Like, it's a negotiation. Like, basically you settle out what you want and then you negotiate the price. Like, that comes at the end. So like, that's why I'm like, don't lead with that. Like, figure out what you're going to do and then negotiate the price. And sometimes when you're negotiating the budget and the price, they're like, okay, all right, you know, we can't do it for this price, so let's remove one of the UGC videos and just do 2 and 1 reel. So that's all part of negotiating, and that's completely normal. So as you can see, when I explain this, the pitching process, the email pitch process, it's a lot longer than creator platforms, which is why I tell all my students, I tell you, and why I spend most of my time on creator platforms, because it's just a shorter process. The other reason why I say the shorter process is with the negotiating through email, like, yes, generally my highest paid work comes from that. So I'm saving my time to do those pitches for my highest deals. So it's all part of the strategy. Like, yes, I will put in the time because I'm getting 10 times more money doing that process instead of doing every single one that process. Whereas the campaigns, like, things are already set. There's no like, there's a little bit of negotiating I do as far as budget, like seeing if they want to do an extra, waitlisting, a little of that in the creator platforms, but there's just a lot less figuring out to do, so it's a faster process. It's because they have their own process with payments too. One less thing you have to do. It's just like already a built-in system through each creator platform, especially when you're new. You're not having to figure out, is the 30 days net pay that I'm gonna get paid, and oh my God, do I need to send them an invoice and a PayPal link? Generally the creator platforms, like, they already have their system settled out and they'll like tell you everything. They have the contract already made. Well, I just find the creator platforms process is a lot easier. It's a lot faster. Again, that's why I do the most of my work. And it's also the most user-friendly for anyone who's starting out. It's the most beginner-friendly way to do it. That's the reality of what I'm doing. I hope you find this helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, if there's anything more I can elaborate on. And again, I've got everything that I use inside my Collaboration UGC Starter Kit. I literally have my media kit template, my portfolio template, all of my pitches, all the platforms on, that is all inside the starter kit. I am super big on templates. Like, I just want to know what to do and like run with it. And like, I literally use these. So that's my biggest tip. You start with that. And then if you're looking for in-depth, how we can like get through all of your portfolio and like in-depth into all of my brand deals, I show you exactly word for word emails on brand deals and my whole process and everything to set you up exactly step by step to get your creator business running off the ground so you can start making thousands of dollars a month working from anywhere, just like I do. I do that inside my UGC and collaboration course. I'll link that below. I've got to wrap this up because I literally just came in, I was in my bathing suit. Literally, like, I'm still in my bikini right now because we just got back from playing outside. I got my hair done earlier today, and I was playing outside with my son and my baby, and they're gonna wake up soon. But this is why I do what I do, because I get days to do like this. Get my hair done, and with the beach, with my kids, film this video for you, doing a little bit of work with these brands. So it's just awesome, the freedom that this can give you, and it's so worth it. Like, I wish someone would have told me that years ago. I will be posting more videos soon, so make sure you are following me, hit that subscribe button, and give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok where you can join all of the fun, and I'll be posting daily videos. So I will see you next time. Good luck.